This is one of the coolest TFL owned projects, period. It is a V8 swapped Russian bred van.
That's right, we have a Soviet-era four-wheel drive van in the USA, and we're gonna see what it drives like off-road.
Nice.
We gotta get the expert in to talk about what the heck this crazy van is. So Andre,
The expert?
the expert!
Well, this is just some crazy project that I came up with years ago. It's a UAZ 452, technically.
Okay.
That's the name of it. And this design, this body you see here, originated in 1965 to 1966.
Okay, and they stopped production when?
Never. It's still being produced, as far as I know, right now.
Does it look like this?
Yes.
Wow.
So the axles have changed, the powertrains have changed a little bit over the years and decades, but the body is the same.
So this is the same era as like a Volkswagen bus.
Yes.
Except imagine if Volkswagen never stopped making the bus. Through 2025, they still make these.
Yes.
So Andre, were these civilian vans? Were they military vans? What were these used for?
No, so I think initially, and I'm not a complete historian when it comes to this, but my understanding is that they were kind of government vehicles. Obviously, we're talking about Soviet Union.
Long time ago.
In the
yeah.
60s and the 70s and the 80s. So they were government vehicles used primarily by the military, also ambulance services, so like city services. It was a utility vehicle that many civilians couldn't buy.
And what year is this one?
This is a 92.
And you imported this one, right?
Yes.
Where did you find it?
So it was in like the Black Sea, in Russia. It was actually in Russia. This was like 2020. My good friend Roman, not your dad, but it's a common, actually, a European name, Eastern European name. My buddy Roman helped me import it into the country. Well, I have a little bit of rust, as you can see throughout here, but this was top-notch condition because I saw many of these in rougher state. Some of them are too rusty, some of them didn't run. This was $4,000.
Wow. So that was the cost in Russia.
Yes.
What about by the time it came here?
It was $10,000 in shipping and customs.
So you're about $14,000 into it.
Yes.
Before the conversion, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yes.
Now, Andre, are these pretty popular, like in Russia and in...
Yeah, they're becoming so.
Yeah.
And also they're popular around the world. I know there's some forums and clubs in Germany that have these bread loaves. Bukhanka is the Russian term for a bread loaf. It's because it kind of looks like a bread loaf. But they're popular in the Middle East, for example. They're popular in Europe. Not so much in the US.
No, I've never seen one in person other than this one, which is crazy because with the whole like popularity of van life and conversions and that kind of thing, you'd think that more people would start importing these, but they're really rare. Now the interior is super sparse, Andre. Are these seats original?
No.
Okay. I was going to say they look too comfy.
Well, this is part of this is not original. This is part of the conversion because our friend David Morrow, he had this crazy idea, what I thought was crazy, that we should engine swap this. And then he's such an amazing handy guy that he did most of the work.
Yeah, so it started out with a little four-cylinder.
Yes.
Fuel injected.
Four-cylinder gasoline, fuel injected engine with a 4-speed manual.
Wow.
But now it's a Chevy.
It's a V8.
It's almost all Chevy underneath now.
Can you open up the little doghouse? We got to show people what it looks like. So the engine's in a Bukhanka, because it's a cab-over design where you sit on top of the wheels, the engine's in the middle under this vinyl-covered doghouse.
It's kind of steel covered in this vinyl.
Whoa!
Case, what do you think, buddy? Case is behind the camera. This is a 4.8 liter 2003 Silverado 1500 LS engine.
And what's the transmission?
It's a 4-speed 700 R4, which is automatic now, which is right here. You could see it right here. My 8-ball is not fitting, Tommy. I was hoping to put my 8-ball onto my NP205 transfer case.
Oh no!
But it's not fitting. That's kind of a bummer. So the powertrain is all GM. The transfer case is GM. The drive shafts are brand new. It's a Chevy.
That's awesome. But the frame, the axles,
The axles and the frame are the same as are Russian.
all original.
And all original. But David, Tommy, you should look at it underneath. He brushed and painted the entire thing.
That's beautiful, Andre. Now, the thing about these vans is they were designed as off-road vans from the beginning, right?
Yeah, four-wheel drive.
So they were intended to be used in some really tough climates, like in Siberia,
Yeah.
in parts of the rural Soviet bloc at the time.
Yeah.
So they were designed to be pretty tough.
Exactly. And I mean, you could argue they have different axles. There was something called the military axle with the way it was geared. There was something called the agricultural axle.
Okay.
So there's kind of different types of axles, manual locking hubs. So this is all standard. This is Safari 500 tires made in Russia. It says it right there.
Are they looking a little dry rotted, Andre?
Yeah, I need to swap tires.
Now, if we come over here, this is kind of the blank canvas of the Buhanka. Out back, you got your little ladder.
Whittle of water.
You got your little hiker dude. But what were these used for back in the old world here?
So they were used for transporting people, and David helped me build it out a little bit more as a overland rig, but also ambulances.
Oh.
Because look, from here where the door closes to that firewall between the front seats and us, that's over 8 feet. We can have a lunch here.
Nice. And is there a door on this side?
Yeah,
Check this out, Case.
come in.
What's crazy is the van has a lot of room on the inside, but the wheelbase is super short, so it gives it a very unique look.
Tommy, the wheelbase is 90.5 inches, which is like Land Rover 90 or CJ. So it's a very short wheelbase.
That's amazing, yeah. So Andre, I think that's enough chatter. Thank you for letting us do your video with the bread loaf. Case and I are now going to see what it drives like.
So Case, we had just arrived at Andre's pit.
Yeah, this is your pit and your van.
Yes, I could not be a happier camper. And also, we shifted it in four-wheel drive low.
Yeah, exactly. So we're in low range right now. We get to see a little bit of the capability of this van. Because again, this is on solid axles.
Yes.
This is a legitimate 4x4, even though it's not a well-known one.
But the suspension is not finished, actually. I have shocks in the front and no shocks in the rear.
But the shocks that you do have on the front are Bilstein. So
Yes.
here going down the logs, which is kind of our ride comfort test, we should be great, right?
No.
Well, it is 4-corner leaf springs, so they're not the most amount of refinement in the world.
In case, the steering wheel is kicking. I think if not careful, it might break my thumbs.
Yeah, I would say that this is certainly of the era of 4x4 where you want to be extra careful about keeping your thumbs outside of the steering wheel.
Are we gonna try the trenches?
Hey, that's up to you. It's your van. What do you think?
Well, I think we should do it.
Yeah,
we
let's
should
give it
definitely try it.
a look. Right now, our trenches are kind of a mess, especially with how much precipitation we've gotten. There's been a bunch of snow, so
it looks terrible.
it's very muddy.
So, Case, when I was building it with David and we did a full series, you could check it out at TFL Trucks YouTube channel.
Right.
There were two big doubts that viewers had. First doubt was cooling.
Sure.
Right?
And,
Oh, jeez.
oh,
What the heck?
we're getting sent sideways. You can see a little bit of the articulation here. But you were saying that people didn't think it was going to cool, but we've
Yeah.
been watching the temps as we've been running it today and some warmer days that you've run it too.
Yeah.
And it actually does a really good job keeping temperature. But there was another critique that people had for you.
They were afraid because we kept the original axles. They were very concerned that the axles are going to explode.
Yeah,
Right.
which is understandable. I'm not sure that it would be smart for you in this to start hole shotting stoplights and drag racing. But I think if you ease onto the throttle and you be careful, I'm sure you'll be okay.
Well, especially in loose dirt like this, in mud, it should be okay. But if you're stuck up against the rock, right? If you're
Yeah.
trying to hop rocks, I think that's going to be bad.
Yeah, that's true. If you start to have your tire skipping and bouncing on a rock, then you might be at risk of breaking something. But these are big Soviet axles.
Well, they're not that big. I mean,
Well, yeah,
these
they're
axles were never meant for V8 power. I mean, we're talking about 100 horsepower and about 150 pound-feet of torque originally.
Look at how thick the sheet steel is on this, though, Andre. I don't think the Soviets knew how to build something underdone.
That's weak. That was weak, right?
That was weak, yeah.
Can we climb some rocks? What do you think?
I think we should definitely drive up the rocks,
Okay.
because that'll be a good demonstration of some of the
or
clearance
lava
that
lane.
we've got.
Let's do both.
Yeah, let's do the rocks first. So, is the suspension on this untouched, basically, other than those shocks in the front?
Yeah, so it's got a stock frame, although David reinforced it with an additional cross members because we had to install the transfer case and the transmission.
Right.
The springs are fully stock original, and it has a 2-inch body lift. So
Okay.
we're sitting on pucks right now, and that's how I bought it. I bought it with a 2-inch body lift. Dude, this is amazing. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
A little bit of lava lane for our final finale.
Yeah, I say we go back down the logs, drive it up lava lane to see how this does for angles, because we were talking a little bit about the wheelbase, and that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that these can be pretty good off-road. The
Yeah.
other thing that we haven't mentioned, and that's definitely worth mentioning, is how good of a job David did making the steel bumpers on this van.
Oh my gosh, dude, these are fully custom. This is a lot of work.
Yeah, and I know there's still some work left to be done. So as good as it sounds, this is actually not the final exhaust that you're planning to do.
No.
You guys have come quite a long way getting the motor in this, getting it running. But there's a few things still left.
Yes, so there are basically 2 junk mufflers behind this, and there are no cats right now. So we need, sorry, I'm breathing a little heavy because I got excited.
You were fighting the steering.
Well, I got excited a little
Get your
bit.
shoulder workout.
So I got to do a proper exhaust system, you
Yep.
know, that's really, really right. These tires have to go because there's no way, they're kind of dry rotted and old. I need new tires.
Also, as we just saw, the brakes could probably use
Yeah.
a little bit of work.
So I'm thinking about going to German Auto because this is so German. No, because our friend Toby is there and he could help me out,
Yeah.
tuning my drum brakes. 4-corner drums, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm really happy for you, Andre, and not the least bit because you've got big nuts.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.